Right, hi everybody, and what I'm doing tonight, or in this video, is just going to go through NavisWorks, which is a part of, if you like, the Revit family that you can use with a project that you've created in Revit. You can also use it to enhance the BIM part of it, the building information modelling part of it, and you can also render, create animations, and um, this is a big part of BIM, with the ability to create timelines, to create collision testing, to create sets. So what I want to do tonight is just show you different ways of setting up the actual views themselves. You'll all be aware of the work areas that you've got there. It's similar to Revit with the ribbons that you've got across the top of the screen, and different tools that are available as you work across the ribbon. What we've got in NavisWorks is the ability to open it in a standard, a minimal, and an extended view. Obviously, what I'm opening it now in is minimal, which is just got the ribbon across the top, and there's not a great deal of information other than that. So what I'm going to do tonight is just show you how, to set it up to suit yourself, to what you do, and what you use and what you don't use, and then we'll go from there. So what we're going to start at looking is, if you run across the top of the ribbon, you've got the different tabs. If you go to View at the top, click on View, and then go across into the Workspace area, as we've got pointed out here. If you click on there, you can see that you've got different types of workspace that NavisWorks makes available to you. You've got the minimal, which are in now, the standard, which gives you a little bit more time. But what I want to do is open the NavisWorks extended view. So all we do is click on NavisWorks extended. It looks as if it's going to close down, but it won't. It'll open up, and then again, what you've got in the screen itself is you've got your standard selection tree with class detection sets across the left hand side, and these sets open and close as you use them. So that's quite a good part of NavisWorks, that as you open them, they'll open, and as you move on to another one, they'll close across the top and bottom. What you've got at the bottom are the quantification works, which we'll go into as we go through the course. Find items, which is self-explanatory. So if you want to find something particular in the house, then you can, in your projects, you can find it. Comments, you can add these to your colleagues, that type of information about different types. Say, for example, if you had a clash detection in there, you could use that. Timeliner is something that we'll look at in greater detail, because that then starts the project animation, or which is more related to BIM. The animator that we can have a look at as well across the bottom. So you've got quite a few things in there that you would have normally. We've got the properties, and we've got saved workspaces. Again, we'll take a look at those as we go along. Right, so what we've got in here is, if we just go across the different parts of the ribbon across the top of there, you'll find, as I say, much the same as you would in actual Revit itself. So we've got the home, where we've got most of our controls, which we will deal with as we go through the course itself. Properties, which we can create, and we can add things to refresh our drawing, reset our drawing, file options, those type of things that we need to do. We've got select and search, which will find any part within a drawing, any for example, air conditioning units, toilet units, whichever you want to do, you can find in there quickly. In here you've got the hide and visibility, similar to what you've got in Revit, where you can add, you can make it wireframe, you can hide everything, those type of things. The displays again, where you've got links, which include links with different projects. Across the top here you've got your main sort of tools. You've got your class detective, your timeliner, your quantification, animator and scripter, which, as I said earlier, are all across the bottom, and you just access those as you want them, which it gives you that ability to hide or make the screen smaller. Again, it's the same thing as you've got with Revit. If you just minimize the toolbars, you can still access all the toolbars by just highlighting them and bringing them up, and it will show you exactly the same amount of tools. Again, if I make it smaller still, which gives you more space on the screen, it gives you the same things. As you highlight over them, it brings them up. So, you know, it's much the same as what you would use in Revit. So what I want to do is just bring everything back up into the screen. Because what I want to do is just gradually go through and look at different ways of creating our workspace and putting in things that we don't really need. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through a few things on the actual screen itself. For example, the animation bar. We're not going to use this as yet. So what I want to do is just to see if I can hide the animation bar. So if I click on there, and if I go across to the show tabs, scroll down, untick it, and if you can see across the top there, now the animation bar has actually disappeared. Again, if I want it to come back, just click on it again and click on the animation bar. This gives us our ability to hide tools, you know, that we don't necessarily need. For example, if we look at the toolbar, at the moment now I'm not using the toolbar, but it's taking up some space. So again, right click and show panels, and as I say, just untick it, and the actual toolbar itself is hidden from the actual view. So it gives us that ability to be able to create more space and to create a work set that actually means something specific to yourself. You can also, if you click on the toolbars, drag them into the screen and sit them there, or sit them anywhere in your screen. This goes back to the traditional sort of AutoCAD package where you can hide the toolbars, and then, as I say, just click on them anywhere and let go back into the ribbon across the top. That then gives you the ability to put things into there. Even if you had split screens, if you had two screens, you could drag it across and put it into another screen, which I do quite often. I'll sometimes have my selection tree or my properties on the second screen, which again gives you that ability to be able to see more of your actual drawing itself. Another aspect of using Revit and setting, NavisWorks and setting NavisWorks up to suit you is the ability to add things to this quick access bar across the top left hand side, which I find is quite useful sometimes. For example, if I'm using tools that I regularly use, for example, say for example if I'm using the measure point regularly, what I can do is right click on there, add to the quick access bar, and if you can see it's quickly added to there. Now what I can also do is click on that one and I can move it to where I want to go. I can click on it to below the ribbon, which again makes it easier to use because, as I say, it's nearer the actual drawing area itself. But what I'll do is I'll just move it back to above the actual screen itself. So just have a quick recap onto there. If I right click on there and on the measure tool and remove from the quick access bar, and it removes it. So therefore we'll try it another again with another tool. So again, if I go for this one, which you could put both up because it clears the measurement that you've just done, right click on it, add to the quick access bar, and it sits up there itself. Right click again and remove it from that actual from the quick access bar. It makes it just that bit easier for us to use. So again, let's just have a look and see what we've got to put into the screen. As you can see, I've got quite a few toolbars and tool sets open in the screen, which makes it so it's difficult and only gives you a small, if you like, viewing area of your particular drawing. What I want to do is just go to View, And if I go into the windows across there, I can untick all the ones that I don't particularly want. So if we go down and again, if we just clear everything off that we don't need and keep going until we get to the stage where all I particularly want for this part of the exercise is just the properties and the selection tree, which I've closed, so I'll reopen. So those are the type of things, and that's how quickly it is. That just gives you, that was a mistake that I made, but that just gives you the ability to be able to see how quickly you can untick or tick a particular toolbar. So if we go and I'll just remove from there. Another way that you can remove them is by just traditionally clicking on the actual cross in the screen, which deletes or which hides them, and we can quickly get them back. This then gives us the ability to keep things within what we want. Now, as I say, I've left certain things in there because, as I say, if we just hover over them, they'll pop back up again. The same with across anything across the screen that you've got in there, you can then quickly nip back in and hide them within the actual screen itself. As I say, there's things that I don't particularly want, so I'll just untick the screen and it leaves it as it is from there. This is quite a handy thing really when you're working across different drawings. You know, if you've got an awful lot of information which you can gather, because you start to create an awful lot of information just from one model, as you can see by unticking the ones that we've got in there. And as I say, if we just close it off, we've got the actual view itself across the top. In here, which you've got in the applications button, all the information that you need, which again you'll all be familiar with because it's the same in Revit, that you've got the new, save, export, print, an options menu that you can click into and work with. So what I'm going to do now is just set it up, so just to give you a quick example of how we can set up our workspace to suit ourselves. If you notice across here, what we've got is our sets and our selection tree, and I've got our find items across the top there, and I've got our properties on the right hand side of the actual screen itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring out, and if you notice now, the toolbars are what we call an auto hide, so that as soon as I click on another item, it hides that particular toolbar or properties menu bar and that type of thing. So what I'm going to do is, if I unclick the sets and then if I tick on unclick auto hide, you can see now that I can now drag the sets to where I particularly want it. So I've got it set into the middle of the screen there, and I've still got the selection tree there, and what I want to do is make my find items in the screen as well, so there I can resize it and bring it in. Now the sets toolbar, what I can do is I can hide it wherever I want it to go, across the top, to the right hand side, to the left hand side, where you see where you've got the auto hide into on the screen there. If I just left click there, I can work with two screens together now. So what I can do is just minimize that one, make that just that bit smaller, so that you've still got your drawing area and you've still got your find items and your sets available within two screens. So I can work with these two now within the screen. And again, you've got that ability to minimize everything so that it makes it just that bit easier for you to create something that suits yourself. One of the advantages that I've got with this particular setup is I can drag this one and I can sit it on top of the properties menu. And another advantage that you've got is as well that I can click between the two, so that it gives you that ability. Again, it's all about creating a workspace that suits you, that saves you space, and this is the ability you've got with NavisWorks to be able to do it. What I want to do is bring my sets back into the screen. Again, all I do is hover over the positioning icons just to say where I want it there. So that is now in that position, and I can bring it across and make it so that the drawing area is as it should be. What I want to make sure is, again, that I bring up the properties icon. So if I untick and then tick the properties again, and it will bring that back in to the actual drawing itself. So that's just another way we've got of creating our sets and hiding it in different ways so that we can make it available for us as we particularly want it. Okay, so that is now just minimized across there. So now that we've got our workspace pretty much similar to what we particularly want, what we can do now is if we click onto here and save workspace, save it into somewhere that you use regularly, onto your C drive, onto a drive that you use, as I say, regularly. I'm just going to put mine in here, and I'm just going to put in user 1 and then click save. That should be now saved, so that if any time I want that particular workspace, I just click on there, and if I need it to be in with this particular workspace, I need to make sure that I save it to somewhere where the actual package can see it. So I'm just going to create it in here on my C drive, and then, as I say, that means then that my NavisWorks can actually see where it is. Not that much information on here. You just don't seem to find anything. But anyway, that's where I've saved it now. So anytime now that I want to, click on there, and where's it gone? That's the point. So now I click on again, save workspace, go into local, and if I go into Autodesk, we're going to make sure that NavisWorks is right down there.
Thanks for finding them tools up for me.
That's okay. And we've got that in there now. I'll try and save it in NavisWorks and see if that makes a difference to where I can save it into there. That's not very clever. But anyway, what I'll do, I'll try again in a minute. We'll try and do it again. Stand that. So if I've got to save workspace, go to there, user 1, workspace file, that's all that information there, click save, then if I open workspace, it's not there. Why? Why? No, not there. So let's have a look and see where we can find that from. I'll cancel that off. Try again. You can save them. I'll just keep trying. Anyway, save current workspace configuration. No, but perhaps if I close it down and then open it again, I'll just try again. Right, what I've done, I've managed to save that workspace, but I've not saved it how I wanted to save it. So what I've had to do is I've had to create a folder with workspace in it. So what you have to look at doing is go to your C drive, create a folder within your C drive called Workspace, and then open the particular workspace that's in. I've already got that one open. So yeah, that's what you have to do. Let's have a look into that in a bit more detail, because I'm sure that you can just save it as a workspace and then just reopen it. Okay. What I want to do with this one is, just as we've moved on, I just want to just see now and just see if we can create some simple animations. The first animation that I want to create is this one, using the view bar across on the right hand side of the screen. Also what I've got is the steering wheel, which will let us create different types of views. First thing I want to do though is click on the Home tab. That will give us an isometric view of our particular drawing. And then what I want to do is to move into the View tab again, across this side, and click on Orbit. Make sure that's active by, as you can see, it's blue, so that means that it's active. And what I want to do is go across to Animation, click on Animation, and then click the Record button. And what I'm going to do is just basically just revolve it around, stop, different view, and we can even zoom into it and zoom back out of it, and then rotate it around again, just to give us a different view of the model. If I click back on Home, it'll take it back to our isometric view. Then all I need to do is click on the animation and stop the actual animation itself. And if you notice in the saved viewports in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you will have animation. And we've got animation 1, and if you right click on it, you can do different add a comment, update it, transform, delete, rename, and you can just put in there and just put in orbit, zoom, and it just gives us an idea of what type of animation it is. As we save our drawing, the animation is saved with it. Always remember that when you've finished any of these commands, either orbit or the look around or the pan or anything like that, make sure that you click on the select arrow at the bottom. That deselects the command. Now if we go into the save view parts and we click on it, if you notice the animation then becomes active again. If I click play, and it will play back the animation that we've just created on the screen. As we go through and start using it more often, we'll start creating more complicated animations, which are useful for, I would imagine, for marketing purposes and that type of thing. So, I'll come out of there, and if I stop the animation, it's still saved in the bottom corner there. So that's saved for us for future use. The next one I want to try and create is one just a little bit more complicated, but in a sense just as simple to create. Right, another way that we can create an animation is by what we can call through using walkthroughs or fly-throughs. First thing that I'm going to do is just on the view bar on the right hand side that we've got there, if we click on the sub menu underneath walk and then click on fly, what I want to do is just fly, if you like, into the bottom left hand side of the building. This will take quite a bit of getting used to. It's just being able to judge it right. So that's the first point of landing there that we're going to stop at there. Right click in the save viewports and save viewpoint. Then what we go back into the view bar and click on the sub menu again and click walk. This time we're going to walk around the building. So if I just pick towards the bottom of the screen and just push slightly forward and watch your building or the actual motion of the building move forward. and you can just keep throwing it down or moving it forward and backward and just adjusting it. Again, right click, save viewpoint. Again, we'll go into the screen and start again and just push your mouse forward, just keeping it into the bottom side of the building and then stopping at certain points, rotating it around so you can see parts of the building. Right click and save viewpoint, click save viewpoint. Again, bottom of the screen, push out, push away from the building if you like, a little bit further. Track the outside of the building pad. That would be sort of a good idea, give you a good judge of where you're actually going. Again, push it round so that you can see where you're going with the building and then stop there. Again, right click, save viewpoint. Again, into the bottom of the screen, try and push it into the middle of the area of the screen where I am there now with the mouse, and just push, and then it'll keep it to that side of the building there. Keep going round, and again, come round. Try not to be too quick with it, because I think what you'll see there is that it actually cuts into the building itself. It's just a case of getting used to it. Pull back out so you can see a viewpoint of the building again, and you can save as many viewpoints as you want in this area. Now do one more, just push away from the building so that it moves away from the building, and then push back into the building and come into the landing area there. And again, right click and save viewpoint. What we've got to do now is actually create the animation itself. So again, we'll right click on the save viewpoint, and if you scroll down you can see several different ways that you can add, import viewpoints, export viewpoints, rename, add a comment, create a copy. All I'm going to do is simply here is just add an animation. It's created the animation in there. We can name that whatever we want, and just walk around building. Let's try and come up with something a little bit more marketable than that, but that will do now, just for walk around building. Once we've done that, what we've got to do is create or make those views live. First thing to do is click on the top one, press your shift key, and then click on number 5 or the bottom one of your viewpoint. Mine currently is number 5, so I'm going to click on that one. That highlights all of the views. Left click on them and just drag and click over the viewport, over the animation. That then puts those views within that animation. Okay, what we'll then do is to close that off, click on walk around building, go to our animation in the top left hand side of our screen and click play. It should just take us around the building to what sort of the view is there. As I said earlier there, what I've done is I've clicked and I've gone too close to the building. So what you've got to do is just get a little bit used to using it. It'll take several attempts for you to get used to it. Again, pulled out, looked at the different views of the building, and again making sure that I tried to pull away from the building. You tend to think that you're not getting anything, you know, when you're walking around and you're walking around the outside of the building, but you are. That's what I said. If you get too close, it starts to cut through the actual building as it is now. And just again, go back out, and it'll just let you create as many different views as you want. Over time, you'll get used to using it. The best way I've found to use it is making sure that you have your mouse at the bottom of your screen towards the ground level. That then allows you to keep an eye on where you're going with it. And what I've tended to try and do is trace the outside of the building, the outside slab, which is the area across there, that outside slab of the building there. Try to follow that, which gives us a pretty accurate view of what we've done there. So now, as I say, if we come out of that command, And if we go click on the home and take that home, those animations will be saved within this project.